What comes to your mind when you hear the word chef? Maybe it would be a man enjoying his time in his high-pressure kitchen, playing around with recipes. Well, the TV show The Bear has more than a few answers to give. This show goes beyond the daily life of a chef into the different emotions and struggles faced by a chef. There's even an episode where Chef Carmy gets a letter from his deceased brother Michael, which contains a spaghetti recipe. But when he opens up the cans of tomato sauce, he finds each can is filled with $100 bills hidden inside. They had to close the restaurant for the day because there were emotions all over the kitchen. That's just one of the iconic scenes in this show. Although not totally based on a true story, parts of The Bear Show are heavily inspired by important moments in the co-creator Christopher Storer's life. The name Bear comes from the last names of Carmy, Michael, and Natalie. Bearzato. It also nods to the show's setting, Chicago, with its bears and cubs. If you're familiar with the show, you notice that both Michael and Carmy are affectionately called bears by their friends. Born out of a desire to show what the culinary world entails without excluding any detail, The Bear had featured stars such as Jeremy Allen White, known as Carmen Carmy Bearzato, the fine dining chef who came home to Chicago to rescue an Italian beef sandwich joint after the death of his brother Michael. Other chefs are Ayo Edebiri as Sydney, who is an ambitious and organized young chef on the rise, Ebon Moss-Bachrach as Richie, who was Michael's mercurial best friend, Lionel Bryce as Marcus, the pastry chef, Lisa Colon-Zayas as Tina, who was Michael's loyalist, and the co-producer and real-life chef Maddie Matherson as Fock, the Mr. Fix-It. These characters are responsible for the successful birth of the show. The show has a lot of emotional rundowns, one of which is that Carmy wanted to pay homage to his deceased brother Michael, which is why he closed the old family restaurant, The Beef, and opened a new one called The Bear. In his first season, the show was about inheritance, avoidance, and grief. Its center was Carmen Carmy Bearzato, and its overwhelming mood was Carmy's sensation of standing in quicksand. Also, in the first season, the bear's frighted symbolism was associated with Carmy. Basically, The Bear is a story of a young, ambitious chef, Carmy Bearzato, who comes home to find a chaotic and dysfunctional kitchen. In his attempt to fix it, he takes over the struggling restaurant, the original Beef of Chicagoland, after a personal tragedy. Carmy's training in some of the most prestigious kitchens around the world was a motivating factor as he had acquired some skills. If you take a walk through season 1 of the show, you'll find that it is what sets the pace of this psychological comedy drama. The season, which aired on June 23, 2022, shows Carmy struggling with his deceased brother Michael's sandwich shop, The Beef, which obviously was a tough one due to the condition of the restaurant, which was in a very poor condition. In Carmy's bid to honor his deceased brother through the transformation of the restaurant, he faces quite a number of challenges. Moving on to season 2, you'll find Carmy doing his best to revitalize the restaurant. The bond that the characters share becomes stronger as they struggle to transform the sandwich shop, The Beef, into a high-end restaurant named The Bear. Sydney takes on more responsibilities. Richie strives to maintain a balance, and the significance of teamwork and collaboration is highly emphasized. The third season begins with Carmy and his team gearing up to navigate the new restaurant The Bear after they close the former, The Beef. Sydney also takes on more kitchen responsibilities this season, as she tries to strike a balance between being a leader and a chef. Carmy struggles to maintain quality standards in the new restaurant while also dealing with his personal problems. The season is also a little bit messy because Carmy doesn't seem to have figured out much of anything. Sydney, on the other hand, is always in a state of dilemma and literally hyperventilates at the thought of what to do next at all times. The season begins and ends at a crucial moment for this group, as the future of the restaurant is as questionable as ever. All seasons of the Bear TV show take you on a roller coaster of a chef's life, but their best part is the real chefs, which some of you have been itching to know. Let's find out who they are. First on the list is Grant Achatz. This American chef and restaurateur who owns Alinea is known for his approach to modern cuisine. He spices up things in the series with a touch of avant-garde. Chef Grant's activity on the show highlights the world of molecular gastronomy to the audience, which in turn inspires viewers to want to know more about culinary creativity. In the show The Bear, Chef Achatz's contributions included consultations on specific dishes and techniques. In the final episode of season 3, he appears at the funeral dinner scene, where Luca annoys him with questions about the dishes served at the 3 Michelin-starred restaurant Alinea. This act ensured that every cuisine experimented on was accurate and visually stunning. His appearance on the show also elevated its status and further buttressed its authenticity. Next is Thomas Keller. Thomas Aloysius Keller is an American chef, restaurateur, and cookbook author. He and his landmark Napa Valley restaurant, the French Laundry in Yountville, California, have won multiple awards from the James Beard Foundation. Notably, the Best California Chef in 1996 and the Best Chef in America in 1997. Keller is the only American chef to have been awarded simultaneous 3-star Michelin ratings for 2 different restaurants, Per Se and the French Laundry, the latter of which has been open since 1978 and owned by Keller since 1994. You will find Chef Keller helping Carmy prepare a family meal for his co-workers. He also teaches Carmy how to take out a wishbone from a chicken. This brings us to Daniel Boulud. Daniel Boulud is a French chef and restaurateur with restaurants in New York City, Palm Beach, Miami, Toronto, Montreal, the Bahamas, Dubai, and Singapore. Quite a group or chain of restaurants across the globe, if you ask me. Chef Boulud is known for his restaurant, which he named after himself, Daniel, which opened in New York City in 1993 and currently holds 2 Michelin stars. Chef Boulud appears as himself in the 3rd season of the show, where he plays an important role as a mentor to the main character, Carmy. He also teaches Carmy how to prepare his famous sea bass wrapped in thin strips of potato, which he developed at Le Cirque. The famous Rene Redzepi, the head chef of Noma, also makes a brief appearance in a flashback scene. Rene Redzepi is a Danish chef and co-owner of the 3 Michelin star restaurant Noma in Christianshavn neighborhood of Copenhagen, Denmark. Redzepi is known for his work on the reinvention and refinement of new Nordic cuisine and food that is characterized by inventiveness and clean flavors. In the 3rd season, Rene Redzepi is spotted playing himself in a lightning-quick cameo. He's seen in flashbacks working in the garden and kitchen of Noma, his acclaimed restaurant. Wiley Dufresne is another American chef who was featured on the show. They previously owned Du's Donuts and were the former chef and owner of the WD-50 and Alder restaurants in Manhattan. He now owns Stretch Pizza on 24th Street and Park in Manhattan. The New York-based chef appears in the 10th episode of the show for the Ever Funeral Dinner. There's also the Canadian chef, restaurateur, actor, and internet personality Matty Matheson. Chef Matheson plays the role of the handyman Neil Falk in the TV series. Neil Falk is also a recurring character in the series. He works as a mechanic of the original Beef of Chicagoland and is friends with Michael Berzotto prior to his death. The Chicago-based chef and restaurateur Jeannie Kwan appears in episode 10, where she discusses the pressure of the job while at the Ever dinner. She talks about imposter syndrome, something all of our most skilled and beloved characters on The Bear deal with in just about every episode. Kwan worked at restaurants like Nobu 57 and 11 Madison Park in New York before she became the pastry chef at Chicago's GT Fish and Oyster. Now, Kwan, who won the James Beard Award for Best Chef, Great Lakes in 2023, co-owns and is the co-head chef at Kasama, the only Michelin-starred Filipino restaurant in the United States. The owner of the Italian restaurant in Chicago, Dario Mani, is another chef who was featured on the show. Chef Mani is very well known for his handmade pasta, which he learned from his Noon, who happens to be his grandmother. Chef Mani makes a brief appearance in season 2, in the episode Next to be precise. During a montage of restaurant workers, suppliers, etc., you can see him prepping his kitchen and waving directly to the camera. The main reason for his feature is his expertise in handmade pasta. The very renowned chef Dave Baran, the former executive chef of Next, a high-concept Michelin star honoree, aired in the 1st episode of the show. The Chicago hotspot changes its restaurant style every few months, which mirrors Carmy's season 3 culinary philosophy. Baran now runs his own restaurant, Santa Monica Bistro Pacioli, which former Emmy winner Ayo Edebiri said she trained at prior to filming season 1 during an interview with Today. Chef Joyce Chu is another real chef to look out for in season 3. The pastry chef is known for creating amazing desserts and owns the Chinese bakery Chi Kwon. But the face behind those amazing Mexican cuisines will be Jonathan Zaragoza. Jonathan is known for his expertise in traditional dishes and modern interpretations, particularly his work with barbacoa. And then there's Christopher Zucchero, the owner of Mr. Beef, the Italian beef shop that inspired the show. He was featured in season 1 as Chi-Chi appeared in 3 episodes and is making a comeback in season 3. In this season, Chi-Chi supplies the Bear restaurant with meat and produce, and eventually joins Ebrahim at the to-go sandwich window, donning an apron to help out. Christina Tosi, the chef and owner of Milk Bar, also stars in Season 3 and has judged on MasterChef and various cooking competitions. Renowned pastry chef Malcolm Livingston II was also on the show. He has worked at top restaurants, including WD-50 and Noma, and is known for his innovative techniques and creative flavor combinations. Starring alongside him is Sanchez, formerly the head pastry chef at Noma. She left to open a taco stand called Hija de Sanchez, which now has 4 locations in Denmark. Additionally, she owns a high-end Mexican restaurant called Restaurant Sanchez in Copenhagen. The Bear TV show is beyond entertainment. It serves as a tribute to everything that defines the culinary world. Every aspect of professional cooking is captured with a little bit of emotion, making it a must-watch for anyone who appreciates the culinary arts. Please don't hesitate to like this video and subscribe, my fellow foodies.